Hello, everyone. It's so good to meet you here. My name is Mina Staleva, and I'm part of the GD team. I'm part of the events management team. Our initial panel for strategies for planning more sustainable events was supposed to be held by Peter Reels, but unfortunately he got sick a few days before the event. So today's host of the panel will be me, together with Hele from Visit Tallinn in beautiful Estonia, who actually supported us on doing this amazing conference and for all of us to be able to be here. The first presentation we're gonna start with, so this is me and Hele here, you can see. We have 4 more presenters during this panel. We have René from Denmark and Climascore. We have Katre from Estonia, representing Jolos Events Management Agency. We have Josephine from Denmark, who is the owner of Trip Doodler. And then we have lovely Olga from Greece, who's part of our GD team as well. We are going to start with the first presentation of today, which will be presented by me and Hele together. And we will be talking about how did the planning of this sustainable event go together. So this is a photo of the event actually today, so it's newly updated, and this is the main stage. What I would like to start with is that why are we talking about sustainable events? Destinations usually use events to extend the season, attract more visitors. Interesting events are often a reason to come back to a destination. And then we have the hotel part, which is often venues for conferences and meetings, events, and a part of the business model. Maybe I can give the ball to Hele here to present a bit of this photo and tell us a bit more about it.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I see that almost half of the people here are from Tallinn, so those who are not, I say that this is our song festival grounds. It's a huge concert place, and we have had there a song festival this year. We had there a couple of pop concerts this year, and up to 60,000 people can enjoy the music and also the dance festival. But I start from a little bit further, and as you almost already everyone heard, that Tallinn is a green capital this year. And the path to the sustainability started already some years ago. And outcome to have sustainable events, it is like not the goal, it's a road, it's the path. And this year, the city government accepted sustainable event handout or the regulation, not the regulation, it's not a compulsory yet, but it's guidelines. Thank you. My colleague is also sitting here. The guidelines, how to have sustainable events managed in the city related objects, but also this is a good guideline for all the private entities to follow. What are the main key aspects? I will not speak about them because we have 2 experts here, at least 2, 3, 4, who talk about what makes a sustainable event of. But yes, the song and festival this year was really a milestone for us because during this period of time there was a 1-week event. We had more than 50,000 people coming into this event during the week because there was also rehearsals, and the main issue was the waste management, how the waste was handled in the area. We used only recycled tableware, so it means that all the soups and juices that you drank, you had the rental cups and Yes, yeah, reusable, yes. Made from the recycled plastic. So the question was that you used it and you gave it back and you got money back for that. And so not a single plastic forks, knives, cups, nothing was used during this event. And I think it was a very, very great success that we all participated on this cleaner picture of the Song and Festival grounds as well. So for us, it's important, and we all work for that, to get this sustainability also to the events, so that more and more people who participate in the events, they also know how event can be sustainable. We have issued a small steps also in our homepage, that when you go to a conference, you know what is sustainable conference, because people go to, I think, daily or weekly or monthly all around the world to different conferences, and how you notice that the conference is made sustainable way. So for us as clients, customers, it's also to really understand where starts our responsibility behaving as a sustainable conference goer, let's say. Yes?
Yeah. Great. And then the next slide, I believe, is a good reference to everything that Hele just mentioned. These are some numbers that Peter Rills actually had picked up for us, and that is that events are responsible for 20% of tourism-related greenhouse gas emissions globally. Also, average carbon footprint per attendee of a conference is 1.89 tons of carbon dioxide, and then 60% of the food, 60% is what reaches the food waste of an event. This is the total waste of one event, basically. And then large-scale events can generate up to 5 kilogram waste per attendee and day. And some events consume up to 10% of the local water in some urban areas. Also, 4 European events consumed as much energy as 1,500 households per year, which is actually a really big footprint when you think about it. Here we've gathered a bit information about GD events and how we reflect to that footprint, actually. The GD Conference 2023, it's our 8th event of the flagship events we do each year. And you can see these are all of the events that we've done for the past, I believe that's 9 years now. 7, sorry. And then the four, GD has 4 main pillars in selecting the destination hosting our global and regional conference. Thank you. Yeah, and first pillar is the conference venue. So we expect our conference venue to have environmental certification as a fundamental requirement. And in addition to this, we encourage venues to actively engage in transparent, sustainable business support programs, showcasing their commitment through publicly accessible scorecards, such as the Good Travel COGDS, basically, or the GSTC aligned GTC Plus. The scorecard will be prominently displayed throughout the venue. Maybe I can ask Hele for a reference here, how they picked up the venue Port of Tallinn and how you actually decide to go with all of the venues that we're hosting the event this year, based on the pillar one we have.
No, of course, the main reason for as a target was what are the conference organizer requirements. This is the first step. And then the second one is really to accommodate it into the venue and to check that the venue has all the certification that is needed. And this building this year, in the beginning of summer, got also Green Key certificate, and Cruise Airport Terminal is actually built together in the very inline sustainable regulations by also the construction. So they are using the seawater to heat this building. Plus there is also special areas, for example, for the waste management to be handled separately, etc., etc. And when we discussed about receiving the Greek certificate, it was very important to also speak about this, that they said that they will already in their agreement with the organizer start to follow the green key regulations, because it helped them also to put these terms into the agreement, so that people who rent this place, they already know what are the requirements for the sustainability as an organizer and as a venue. So I think this is also not, maybe everyone is doing that you do the lease agreement of the object, but you have this sustainability declaration separately, but they integrated into the one agreement. So it's a big step forward.
Great. And then the second pillar we have, and we're really focused on, is waste and recycling. So what we do in GD, we are our efforts are made to minimize the use of paper, and really emphasizing on a waste of reduction and recycling. So what we do in terms of managing that waste is that we focus on using more digitalization or digital solution to reduce all of that waste, or if we have to print a piece of paper, we just try to print a double sides. So this helps us a lot, I would say. And then pillar number 3 is the catering. I think we all experienced the beautiful lunch and the good coffee they have. So at the conference, we serve 100% vegetarian menu, and 75% of the food is actually vegan. We also have gluten-free options, and 25% of the food that we have been served today is actually organic. Our coffee and the tea are fair trade as well, which is also believed to be really important, and we encourage for people to use their water bottles instead of using capped water bottles. You can find in all of the bathrooms, actually, you can find tap water, which is completely fine to be drank. We've been having it for the past 5 days at the hotel. Really good. So, so we prioritize local production, including hand-picked ingredients like blackcurrant, tomato, ground elder, etc. And the leftovers of the food are also donated. I'm sure Hele has something to add here on the catering side.
Yes, please eat Estonian apples. We have a lot of them, and they will not end, hopefully. So take it with you to your hotel room later.
Great. And in regards to pillar number 4, this is the travel footprint. So we usually select destinations that are with convenient accent for all of the delegates, where you can find public transport or buses, both within the country and the wider region. We do understand the fact that our conferences are quite well visited, so we do have to fly a lot of people abroad. However, we do encourage people to use different transportation than airplane as well, like using the ferry or using an airplane to get to a place where you can get the bus to Tallinn in this case. So we do try to offer all of our attendees different opportunities to be able to attend the event and have less footprint on the traveling point. And then what we have done this year for having more sustainable conference is that, the slide is beautiful, but I think it's worth mentioning. So this year we have 265 delegates at the conference, maybe a few more because we had last minute sales as well. And then we have people coming from over 40 countries. We also have 19 panels and 2 official ceremonies. And going back to what we have done this year, we have partnered with ClimateScore and Renee. of measuring carbon footprint and calculation with climate score. So together with climate score, we are actively calculating and addressing our carbon footprint that the event has and working towards a more sustainable event. And then the second partner we have for this event is Josephine from Trip Doodler. We are, for the first time, we're actually implementing a survey that allows us to collect data from all of the delegates that are visiting the event. From their point of view, what is our, how was our conference more sustainable? If you actually scan the QR code that is printed everywhere in the venue, you will be able to visit both surveys and see how they're working. So, yeah, I think that's it in a nutshell. Hele, would you like to add anything?
No, I'm very happy that everyone came, and I hope that you will enjoy the 2 days here, and we have very proud to present that Tallinn is among sustainable cities around the world, and now you have a possibility to taste and feel and to really enjoy your stay here, and this also brings you back maybe next year or some other times, but I think what is also interesting is that I just came back from another conference in Spain, and the meeting sustainability and event organizing sustainability is actually a very hot topic. And because we like to go to theaters, to concerts, to different fairs. So it doesn't matter what is the event. We usually, when we think about meetings, we think about, or events, we think about conferences and meetings. But it starts from a very root level, from a very simple event. And what is also very proud for me to say about Estonia is that a lot of municipalities have actually accepted this non-plastic, local, to adapt it, and this is a very great community work that we are also addressing in this conference, that it should start from a community, and therefore I hope that we all have a power enough to encourage our communities to save the nature and planet.
Great. Well, that was from us. And then I am happy to introduce Brené, who will be our next presenter.
Check. It's working?
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you, Mina.
Thank you.
My name is René Jacobsen. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Climate Score.
Sorry.
Yeah, we can put it here. So I'm from Denmark. And I've been working with Climate Score in 5 years, and the last 20 years I've been working with climate assessment, but also addressing behavior as a management consultant and consultancy in many different companies. Climate Score is a powerful tool, both for destinations, for hotels, but also event planners. And today I will focus on how we work with events, and we have also measured the carbon footprint of this event. How many, if any, did participate in the first session? There was one from Italy there. Okay. Today, or this session, I will go much more deep into the details of the results, and I will be happy to receive questions about it. In Climate Score, our mission is to help travelers, meeting planners, and business travelers to choose a climate-friendly stay based on facts. That is not possible today. And when I say facts, I mean CO2. We are only focused on CO2. So we have taken the overall sustainability again and saying CO2, because it's something we can measure. It's something we can build trust on. And we are the data guys, right, Josephine, when we talk together? So we have developed Climate Score as a tool for hotels and destinations, and it's a tool that makes it very easy for you to prioritize. What are the initiatives who gives the most impact on CO2, who gives the most impact on cost savings, and also on how we can attract more customers. So we have tried to think in the business benefit very early. And here you can see an example of workshops. So our tool is providing insights, recommendations, and it's very easy for the employees, but also the leaders, to take action immediately. Climate score is based on a CO2 life cycle assessment. And life cycle assessment is where we go in and measure the emissions from cradle to cradle. That's important both in terms of when you collect the data. So we don't use average data. We use the exact data that are actual for this event or for hotel or for destination. So we go out and collect data. For this location here, I've been out talking with the venue. So I know there's solar on top. I know there's a seawater heat exchanger downstairs, and we collected if they have bought extra green energy and etc. So we go out and we collect primary data, and then we validate it with our engineers to fulfill the standard. There is ISO standard for this life cycle assessment. I'm saying this because there are many CO2 calculations for free online, but they are not scientific true. They are using average numbers that can be good for some early estimates, but if you want to go out and communicate, especially if you want to fulfill the requirements from green claims, that is a life cycle assessment approach you need to have. And that is what we do. Let's focus on this event. Our climate score is from 1 to 10. We have calculated work with 200 destination hotels and event managers, mainly from Scandinavia, now also in Baltics. So we have quite solid database. Every year we calculate who has the lowest impact, and that become number 10, right? And then the worst is number 1. And then it's spread between 1 to 10. So behind each number there's a CO2 number, kilo CO2 per person per day. And at this event we calculate today and tomorrow. But at this event we have achieved 9.5 out of 10. That is amazing. I think we should give that a huge applause. And it is because we is not me. This is Katra from Jolos. It's Helen, you just met, and all the colleagues. It's also Green Destination, and Mina. Perfect. You just explained all of the things you've done. I'll try to put numbers on it. But that's how it is, right? So it's become very good, and it also makes. So normally we send this slide out in the event, and saying, well, we have taken climate-friendly choices. We are good. It's 9.5 out of 10. So stay calm and with good climate conscience, enjoy the rest of the event. But how come it's so good? Yes, it's become, as we heard, Helen, she have offered free transport as well, green transport, public transport in Tallinn. I've sent out a survey. Many of you have replied to the survey. And it's based for the calculations here. So I think it was 2/3 who are taking the bus or walking. That has a huge impact here. The other thing is the menu. There was no meat in what we just had. That says it all. And then the last thing is the solar panels I just explained, so the green energy we have in this room actually. So behind number 9.5, there is this result, 22.6 kilogram CO2 emissions per person per day. The distribution of that number You see in here on this graphic, and you can still see food and beverage are the biggest part. What we look at here is the event in Tallinn. In the other slide I'll show in a second, we also include the flights and the long distance transportation. But this is the event in Tallinn. Another thing is waste. That's the first thing I say to people working with sustainability. In terms of CO2, waste don't have any impact. Don't spend too much time on waste. Otherwise, it's important for resource generation and recycling. But in terms of CO2, it doesn't impact a lot. Are you surprised to see these graphics? No comments. Okay.
Transportation much higher compared to food and buildings.
But did you measure also the flights here?
Yeah, we did. So in the survey, which you probably didn't answer, I asked you where did you came from? Did you came by plane? The other question was when you arrived in Tallinn, how would you come around?
But how many people answered the questionnaire?
A significant part. I can't really answer the complete number.
Surprised, I would
Yeah,
guess that it was
but this is again the event in Tallinn.
Sorry.
Yeah.
What does waste represent much on the carbon? How come?
How come? Yeah. It's always a big surprise. So thank you for your thoughts. It's because what are the data we have calculated? So via Hele, you have you're responsible for all the catering. I have been talking to all the catering, so I have received all the purchase numbers for the food, right? So all the food we know, and we have put in the right CO2 emissions on, so that has been calculated. That's what you see in that column. So what is left is only what we not using here and are putting to the recycling area and probably being burned or something. And the emission for that part is very, very small.
But it's also the same thing that isn't that the
So-
waste that you recycle, you generate something new out of it, so you don't have CO2 from it, only from the one that.
Actually, some materials you recycle, there's actually a opposite impact on CO2. But it's because the main CO2 emissions come from producing material, not from removing them. That's the right story. Cool. What else? I mean, Catus people have providing with all the rental material and also printing material, which we have collected data on. So that's what you see in the purchase column. So we have volumes of different graphics, prints, and etc. So that has all been included in the assessment here. Okay. If we compare our event results here with our average numbers from other events in Scandinavia, but also Baltics, and say if we didn't take any active choices, we could hear that Mini and Hele, they had a plan with this event, which is good, but they just close their eyes, then they will just ending up having an average. If we compare those numbers, then we can see that we have saved 4.4 tons of CO2 compared to the average event. That's quite a lot. To put that number into reflection, it means you can take a car from here, go to Barcelona, so close to Valencia, where Helen was last week, and back, and you do that again. That's the same amount of emissions we're actually saving. So 4.5 is what we get from taking active choices. If we look at the total event, so not only the event emissions within here in Tallinn, but also including the flights, then you can look at the graphic here. Because the dark blue one is only what is in Tallinn, and here is the big yellow one. And of course, that is the flight. many are flying to this destination. Many are also taking the boat from Helsinki. There's a lot of people here from Finland. So in total, the event CO2 emissions are close to 26 tons of CO2. So put that into perspective, we have saved 4.5, but we're ending up having 26. From my point of view, it shows that it matters to take active decisions and not only just go with the flow and, yeah. What is your comment?
Sorry? I wanted to, we were saying about we are saving 4.5 tons of carbon on this event.
Yes.
And what's the average? And how this average is assumed? So if there's a calculation for all events and you have an average number, and then it's our reference to make it shorter, smaller than that.
Yeah.
That's the reference. I was just curious to know.
Mhm.
And if this average goes lower and lower, like if the events are improving on their performance,
Mm-hmm.
I assume that this
Yeah.
average score gets lower, right?
Yeah. So each year we log the 10 because it's the best we have seen during last year, right? So that, I mean, if Tallinn is continuing reducing the CO2, maybe it makes it even harder to be number 10, right? But that's just how we have identified how we want to have the score to motivate it. What's behind this is the CO2 per person, right? So I have discussed this comparison with many destinations as well. And the first destination would like to have, let's compare it if we didn't take any choices at all. So if this house just had coal as a fuel, I say, okay, if we have no vegetables, only pure meat, is that realistic? So we have ending up saying, okay, the average, if you didn't have taken any active choices, then you have become the averages. Cool. But of course, why stopping here? Why not become the best and go even further? And our recommendation is always to improve and go even further. First of all, we will say continue the good work because it is good. And next time we would like to have the survey part of the registration process as a participant, so then we have 100% replies. What we can recommend is to work even more with the venues to provide even better data, but also the hotels we are staying at tonight. Because right now they only give me some survey replies. Next time I would like to have some detailed data. If we do so, and we take the most climate-friendly one of them, because we don't know yet, we haven't seen data, then we can save another tons of CO2 compared to the average, and that will become a 10. So there's still some things to do, Hele, obviously, but it's a good result. This was the tool in action in terms of event. But what we also do in Climate Score is we help the hotels and venues, so the event suppliers, and the benefits they receive is they can realize cost savings and CO2 savings. And we provide some package there. We have many hotels. We work with both the big chains and the small hotels. And they're quite interesting in working with this. What we also do is we help the destinations. Many of you are destinations, and I would like to show how we do that. But we utilize all the investments already have done in your destination. So the tram here, it's not something that come with the event here. It's been an investment for years. The buses, and if you have like wind powers, etc., that's something we include in our calculations and can help you supporting that. And then I would like to show you our tool for destinations used by Visit Copenhagen. It's a pre-planning tool they give to their event customers, organizer. That could be during our RFP process or even earlier. But here, the customers can go in and enter their event, and then they can choose food and beverage on the event. They can take choices on, do we want to have the vegetarian, or should it be locally sourced materials, products, etc. All the choices we have in the tool is based on the products and services provided by the suppliers in Copenhagen. We'll do the same for your destination. Then you can see on the right-hand side, by taking each choice, then the climate score will change. And the CO2 footprint you will gain, can you also see? So thereby you can see how would the impact be like, and you will be motivated to do even more, buy even more products among our suppliers. That could be EV cars for taxis, or etc. So here we connecting suppliers and meeting planners, and what they get is an automatic generated sustainability report saying what are the sustainable impact from the choices they have planned with. But because it's a plan, they also receive a checklist where they're standing, remember you have chosen vegetarian food, remember to do it. You have entered 6 meals, provide that. So it's a pre-planning tool. Wonderful Copenhagen Visit Copenhagen use it as a sales differentiator to having more events in Copenhagen. This tool we could do with any of your destinations. We have the tool, so we just need to see what are your product and services and how can that be attractive to the customers. Cool, that was all for me. You can check out the tool if you take a photo of the screen, and if you want to get in touch, please let me know.
Thank you very much. And I'm now happy to invite Katre from Yolos. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I was asked to speak to you about how sustainable our event today is, but you have actually heard it many times now. So thank God I added some interesting facts to my slides. So some things you hear a second or third time, but let's hope you hear something interesting for the first time also. So I'm a sustainability manager at Yolos, event management company, who is the organizer of today's event and today's dinner also. Let's talk about. I have one question for you, actually, the first thing. So, how well did you listen to René? First question. Which part has usually the highest carbon footprint of events? So what do you think? Mm-hmm. I was surprised from today's presentation, the results I mean, because out of these options like food, transport, electricity or used materials, we have also done a lot of measurements of events, and at least our measurements say that it's always actually the transport, the biggest. We have measured many events. For example, one event that we had for 2,500 people, international event where people came from 4 continents to Estonia. For example, their footprint for all these people, their transportation was like 83% of the total event, since they flew in. And for example, we did, to Enterprise Estonia, we did tourism conference in in Saaremaa. It's a small island in Estonia. You can drive there 4 hours and take a ferry. Or you can also fly there with plane by like 30 minutes. And there also there was also the transport the biggest part. So, but it always depends on how many people are coming where. So some facts, like now that to prove my point about the transportation is that this is the average, international average, that 70% of event CO2 comes from air travel. Of course, it's when you have an event where people travel together. So, and I don't know if you knew this, but buses have new standards like every once in a while. And that's why we always recommend our clients to order and have the newest buses, Euro 6 norm. Because from this slide you can see that older buses, for example, Euro 3 norm, 42 buses compares to one new bus. This is why I understand that at this event also that we have, the buses are also the newest that we have. I think the buses are taking you to dinner, right? No, from dinner to city we have, yes, from dinner to city. And also what is a great thing to do if you ever wonder what's the easiest way to reduce your carbon footprint of transport is to just, if you have, for example, diesel cars, for also like for your everyday life, then choose renewable diesel. It's not this biodiesel, but it's renewable diesel made from, for example, Neste makes diesel out of Hesburger fries, the oil where they fry their fries, for example. And this is supposed to be like 90% of less CO2 emissions than normal one. And this has also like has given us a lot of options to reduce our events carbon emissions, to just change the fuel. That's easy. So another thing, I know that mostly everyone talks about that it's very important to eat local food, right? Everywhere, local. But actually the most important, local is also important, but the most important is to prefer more plant-based food instead of animal-based. So, sorry, this is, I thought it's a slide about food. I will show you this. Beef, for example, compared to beans. In today's menu, I saw beans, that's why I took the beans for comparison. The difference is 221 times. So that's why, for example, when we organize events, we always try to keep away from beef. I know that some clients don't like it, and of course then we offer beef when they want it, but that's a huge difference. And yeah, almost all animal-based foods compared to plant-based foods, the times are like at least 10 to 50 times. So the best thing you can do, of course, is to minimize animal-based products, and that's why it's so nice to organize event for those who already say yes, let's have 100% vegetarian menu. So let's go back to electricity. Do you know that the difference between green electricity and like regular electricity, it's called European residual mix, because that's the electricity you don't know where it's coming from. It's like the regular electricity. And let's be honest, unfortunately in Tallinn still most of the venues use regular electricity because it's cheaper than green one. But when we organize events, we always try to ask the venue, like, please, can you at least switch for this month to green energy? Because it's possible to change the electricity package for a month period. And I think the biggest achievement that we have had is that a big venue, the biggest venue in Estonia, Unibet Arena, this year, they changed to green energy because we asked them to, like, can you please do it? And then they were like, oh, it's definitely so much more expensive. Let's not do it. I was like, can you just like get an offer for it? And then they were like, oh yes, the offer actually, it wasn't more expensive. So we'll keep the green energy. So I recommend you always to like try to ask this. And this is good for this venue, so you don't even have to ask it anymore. So it's a big difference. I will not talk about, again, how good this cruise terminal place is, because you have heard of it already. And foods, you already heard this story now, what we do at this event. But it's really important for the food thing to already in the beginning phase, when you talk to the catering, to really have very specific brief to them, because these things are not always standard, not at all. Again, about materials now. I don't know how many of you actually every day organize events who are here. Only one person? Ah, yeah. You mean PR materials like printed on paper? Or? Mm. Oh. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. Regarding to this specific event, I think you who are like, this is not question for me, but maybe for you, why you don't have PR materials here for sponsors? I will give this.
I'm not sure that I fully understand the question. So you're asking why we don't have PR materials, or why we don't have... okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, okay. Yeah,
Question,
yeah.
yes.
At least in Estonia, for our events, it's an old-fashioned thing.
I understand that. So there is EU regulations. When you organize event, you have to have EU logo everywhere. This one. This event is nothing to do with the European Union, any program. So in this sense, this event does not require any specific plate. But this is the lanyard, this is recycling. So we are recycling. This is not reusing it, let's say, that we didn't produce anything extra materials to this event. And I think the idea here is that you have to be creative, how you can collaborate with the existing materials so that you do not produce anything, like these PVC things. And we have trying to avoid it so that we don't produce any extra material. Yeah, it's a challenge, but I do hope that the EU also will look with their Green Deal that we don't produce extra PR materials only with the EU logo, just to confirm that this event is made by under this program. So this also requires our own initiative to our joint technical secretariats, and then also to the EU issues that we don't produce extra material.
Okay, so
yeah.
It's understand now, because it is not like EU funded, but anyway, we are, for example, we are putting interesting sum of money, for this, but we are trying to be innovative, because we have a lot of green
designing and digitalize projects. So we are trying just like with this pen. I didn't know that it exists, you know. So when you wear out the pen, then you have seed, and it's like opening.
It's like a great idea, but at least my experience shows that always these nice things that you, with the season thing, you don't actually use, and you throw them away.
That's why. I mean,
Yeah.
Traditional, field materials, most of people are, it ends in garbage, But if there is something that you open, like, visuals in somebody's mind, that they should, do something afterwards, then it makes sense. I just wanted to know if it is just, the decision of the organizer, or it has something to
Well, for this event, we had like also when we with the production team, we're sitting there. we had like a criteria. Okay, let's see, like let's try to do it so that we don't have to produce anything, like anything, and that's always challenging. For example, this is a big event that we were supposed to do maximum sustainable way. We had a big area. And we had, to do signs. Where is the wardrobe? Where are the toilets? Where is the food? And so on. You need to have those, Our first idea, for example, was to make them from old. What we have done is been using like old plastic scraps that our decoration partner already has, and just made stickers on it. Yeah, I know sticker is not good also, but it's a lot better than just like producing these PVC things that we have produced a lot in the history, a lot, because it's the most cheapest material and very quick to produce. And then you are like, the client said like, okay, but we need to have everything on brand, on our brand. And then we're like, oh, but that screws everything with like our sustainable things. So the best thing, for example, what we could do was, in that case, was to produce them on a material called tispa, almost like a reboard, if you know what reboard is, but cheaper, and you can just throw it to paper and recycle it afterwards. But yes, like we always try, also when we organize events, we always try to do something from old things that already exist in the world, or not to do them at all. So, but yeah, the PVC for a lot of people, don't mind it, the font is wrong, that's why it looks weird. A lot of people I know in the world still PVC is the ABC what they use for their like printing out the EU logos and everything. So, for example, at this event on the stage, in the big stage there, we have reusable stage carpet. I don't know how it's in your countries, but it is in Estonia. It's almost like an innovation because we did not really have it before a few months ago. I think in the beginning of the year, for the first time, our biggest technical partner in Estonia ordered reusable stage carpet because we asked them to. They have always used a single-use expo carpet before, that is just been thrown away afterwards. But now we have this that you see on the picture, and you can reuse it, reuse it, reuse it. So, and you already see that we don't have any single-use decorations. So, just if you are organizing any event, whatever event you are organizing, I have 5 points for you to remember, 5 key takeaways. It's important to set sustainability as a priority already in the beginning. We have had many experience like that. That when we have an event where sustainability is not in the focus in the beginning, it's afterwards. It's so much harder for everyone to get on board with this. So for everyone already. Like a top of mind, this event has to be very sustainable. This was the case with this event also. So correctly brief all the suppliers, because still there's a lack of knowledge for the suppliers. They don't know much about sustainable things. So you have to like really tell them exactly what they need to do. You have to supervise them, because still in my daily life I go to events where I I supervise if everything is how we want it to be, and yeah, people want to cut corners sometimes. So you have to supervise them. So yeah.
In Azores, we built an association, a business association for sustainable development, and to help other companies to be more sustainable on their actions. And we developed an ethical code for suppliers. Okay, so we said that our suppliers have to comply with those rules, guidance that we supply them, and say this is the way. I'm sorry, if you want to be a supplier of our events, of our activities, of our group, you have to follow these rules. And so it's sometimes a question, shall we make it mandatory instead of optional?
I think yes.
Many of these it's true, because it's maybe sometimes it's the only way.
Yeah.
You know, that this is not an option, we make it mandatory for events.
Because I think tomorrow, like not tomorrow, but in the future tomorrow, that's already tomorrow, I think all these things, they should be integral part of events. They're not like anymore like, okay, do you sort your waste? Like it's normal that you do, or like all these kind of things. I think they should be mandatory.
Yeah, I was thinking about the food. Well, I can be a bit controversial on this. I don't know if beef, it depends on the beef and it depends on the vegetables that we have. If you have a local producer of beef instead of the avocado producer from Ecuador, in Estonia, you might take a beef. But the thing is, sorry? No. I don't know. I'm just being controversial.
Yeah, I have facts about it, for example.
I want to know. But for example, what about if we said, like, what about food waste? What happens to the food that went back to the kitchen? Shall we limit the amount of calories and proteins that each person has on each meal instead of just eating as much as they want? Mm-hmm. Shall we limit that quantity and say, okay, you can have a beef, but you can only have 100 grams of beef?
Yeah, for example, it's an interesting topic that you raise, because what we have been in discussion with our catering partners about the food waste, that they have seen that a lot of food will be thrown away when it's plant-based, because it's not good and delicious, so people throw it away. So is it like good for the environment when you have a lot of plant-based food, but you throw it all away because people don't eat it? Of course it's not, but it's a complex thing. So for example, what we are really doing is like we are really now starting to like measure how much food was like left on the tables, how much food went into the bins, so we know if just we ordered too much food or the food wasn't good or what was the problem. And regarding the beef and avocado thing, yes, I've read scientific articles. For example, in Estonia, the beef that is like this eco beef, that's happily growing or like living on the next to the sea and eating the grass and not eating the soya or anything else. This is even in Estonia, it's actually considered carbon, like how do you say, not like positive, or like that, like it's like not positive, it's like a neutral, carbon neutral, because it maintains the grass and the soil sucks the CO2 out of air. But in EU, I've read many research about it. In EU, for example, food transportation consists of food CO2 only 8%. So the transportation is not so big part as the food production itself. So that's why it's like, if you consider if you're eating regular beef, it's definitely much more bad for the environment than any other vegetable, even the avocado coming from somewhere far away.
I have one comment. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of CO2 numbers, mm-hmm. Figure, and there's lots of new technology, etc. It's very important when you start using calculations to use the recognized ones, the ones who have been controlled, validated, etc. etc. And it is the life cycle assessment you do, not only ours, but I mean for beef, expert need to go out and inspect it before you can use it as a carbon neutral. I will never use carbon neutral beef before I've seen the calculation for it. That's very important. Otherwise, you get greenwashed.
Never show what we want them to show.
Yeah, that you can do anything with numbers, but they have to be recognized and at a certain level of quality.
I'm going to raise just a challenge for the tourism industry all around the world, that the tourism industry should sponsor airplanes research to make it electrical. Electrical airplanes that would lower the impact of events like this is 70% of the carbon footprint from events are from transport. Maybe we should make the airplanes electrical. And we should
Yeah, that's okay. Let's keep that in mind.
like, for example, I challenge the Azorean government, so we have a government there, to be the first airport in the world to free fees for landing an electrical airplane.
I think we're running out of time, so yeah. Just last thing. Last recommendation: talk about what you have done. Share the knowledge. Be honest. Share what you fucked up if you did. Share what you did well. Just be transparent and honest and inspire others. So this is my last point. So just if you want, you can also take a picture of this, all these, and a lot of more materials. We have guidelines how to organize sustainable event, made into one nice PDF that you can use for your everyday job, daily life. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Great, beautiful. Thank you, Katri, very much. And now I would like to invite Olga from GD on the stage.
Yeah, super. Can you hear me? Yeah. So hi all. I'm super happy that I'm here with all of you, but also I'm happy because I have to share some great news with all of you. So here in Green Destination, and especially in the Solutions for Businesses program, we are working on the creation of a certification for events. So before I go into more detail about this new idea, I just want to explain you a bit, super briefly, the tools that we already have in our program. So you will see that we have the Good Travel Scan and the Climate Action Scan, that both of them are verifications, so we don't talk for certifications. But then we have our certification, the Good Travel Seal, with 3 different levels. Good Travel Seal level 1, 2, and 3. I will focus more in the Good Travel Seal level 1, because this will be the format that the new certification will also have. So what makes this level really different is, first of all, that it's a really new tool, also for us, but also because we have skipped the part of the reporting. So indeed, the businesses, again, have access in the online reporting platform, but they can easily select the answers and then get the score. Of course, we have an evaluation call and the final decision, so we follow the 3 different steps, but they don't have to add huge texts. They can just select the answers. This will be exactly how the new event certification will be as well. The only difference that we will have for this new certification is that we will do it in 2 steps. So let's say that the event has to report everything in the platform. They have to upload it, all the information in the reporting platform. They will get at this stage a verification that they are in process to be certified. And this is important because we can give them a certification before the event. How this can be transparent if we haven't checked that indeed everything was like they mentioned in the reporting. So we have this stage before the event. We start the verification, and then after the event, we will have an audit where basically our experts will check everything, and then of course we are ready to share with them the certification. So more or less, this is the idea for this new certification. Of course, we will cover all the 12 themes that we cover in the Good Travel Seal: food and products, accessibility, pollution and noise, social well-being, energy and climate, nature, good employment, waste, culture, health and safety, water management, and information. So more or less this is the process that I described before about the level 1, just to sum up a bit. Reporting on the platform, with the coach, check that all the documents are there. We are doing the event, and then after the event we have the audit. We check that everything is fine, and then we share with them like the official certification. We decided to do this in 2 steps because first of all we can easily understand that it's not super useful for the event to receive the certification after the event, because how they can communicate like to the participants that we are certified. But at the same time, for us it's really tricky to give them like a certification before the event. How we can talk about transparency. So, together with Josephine, the CEO of TripDoodler, we have created a survey, the one that Mina mentioned before. You can easily find in the different screens. And we have selected some of our criteria, are the criteria that we created for the event certification. You can take a look. We are talking for local dishes and beverage, energy-saving practices, reducing meat consumption, waste reduction, local art, waste separation, protecting cultural food waste, equal opportunities, minimizing disposables, access by public transportation, no single-use bottles, electrical cars, we have some music background, and management and information. So, I will invite Josephine, and I'm waiting from here to explain everything in more detail. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Olga asked me to just introduce you all to the delegate activation we have going on with the QR codes, where we ask you all to acknowledge the sustainability actions that you see at the event. But first of all, my name is Josephine. I see one familiar face, but I think the rest of you are not familiar to me. I'm Josephine. I'm the CEO of TripDoodler, which is a startup that builds user ratings for travelers, making it easier for them to identify sustainable actions and make more sustainable choices. So let me just see. And why are we even doing that? Well, we saw all the effort that goes into planning a more sustainable event. It takes hours, it takes effort, it takes calculations, it takes documentation. We spend quite a lot of effort in making the events more sustainable. So I guess it would be really cool to also get a little bit of recognition for what we do from the delegates. The challenge with delegates is that they are just like travelers. Their knowledge around sustainability is very low. And sometimes we forget that when we talk among us, because here we know everything about sustainability. We know exactly how to spot all the amazing things going on. The travelers, they do not. For them, the certifications that we have, the ESG reportings, all the calculations, for them is just one big black box. And this is a challenge because if we don't translate sustainability to the delegates, they will not get the same sense of have made a good choice of joining the conference. So the people who organize the event, they know that they've really made every effort that they can to make the event more sustainable, but the delegates don't necessarily have the same feeling of the event if we do not translate sustainability to them. And in order for a behavioral change with the delegates, we need 3 things. It goes actually for all behavior change. You need to be motivated, you need to be prompt, and you need to also have the ability. And the challenge is very often that we don't have the ability as travelers because we don't know, or as delegates, because we don't know enough. But what if we start by making it super easy for them to identify sustainability actions taken at the event? I know we lose out on some of the integrity around, we want to communicate all the data, like René is doing here. We have the 9.5, but we want to see all the data behind it as well. But if we communicate everything at once, we will lose out on the delegates' interest. Because also one thing is to make it easy. The second thing is that we need to make it personal. because we all choose sustainability based on our personal preference. Some of us are super interested in lowering our carbon footprint. Some of us are very interested in food and food waste, maybe. Some of them are actually interested in seeing diversity in the amount of speakers. So we have very different interests, and if we don't start communicating that to the travelers and the delegates, we lose out on engaging them. So we have teamed up with Green Destinations to do this this delegation activation. And just before we dive into actually trying it, when a delegate is interacting with TripDoodler's rating, they will be presented with a set of objective parameters for sustainable actions. And all they have to do is mark what they see. I don't know how many of you have already scanned the QR code, but you will be asked to identify what you have seen, what you see, with a yes, no, or I don't know. All the objective parameters are based on 4 criteria. The impact level of the criteria, but also the visibility. So can delegates actually see this? Because there's a lot going on behind the scenes that they can't see, and we of course have to exclude that. Then it's on interest, consumer interest in sustainability, and last but not least, what is the level of expected implementation at events or hotels or whatever the rating is used for in EU. The rating that we are using today in the event is built for accommodations, eating places, and shops as well. So you can also use this when you are in your accommodation later this evening, or when you are eating a dinner tomorrow or whatever. And each establishment has, of course, a unique set of parameters, because it varies what is interesting when we talk about accommodations versus when we talk about events or eating places. And all the different criteria is based into 4 categorizations. Yeah. So, do we want to test it, or? Yeah. It's actually quite easy. So the only thing you have to do is scan the QR code. There's 11 parameters, which is chosen based on the criteria for the new Green Destination event certification. Thank you. You have to answer yes, no, I don't know. And just in case that you're thinking, oh, I don't know, actually I want to test it out before I answer, you can always scan the QR code again and go in and amend your answer. So it doesn't have to be your final answer if you're like, okay, I don't know that question, but I would like to check it out and be fair before I reply. And then you need to submit your emails and do this captcha thing, but it's just because we need to understand that it's actually a person filling in the questionnaire. This is also, again, for integrity purposes. And when you do, there's a little goodie in the end as well. Cool. This is it. Oh, sorry. You have my head? Yeah. You will see also that the parameters is not only covering the environmental part of sustainability for events, but also there's a question about the diversity among speakers. There's questions about local heritage. You've done it before, yeah. Because we try to actually accommodate a broader perspective on sustainability. Yeah.
That you have pictures from the venue here.
We made a big effort out of that. It was actually one from the team going here very late Wednesday evening making the pictures, because if you can make it as close as possible, recognizable for the individuals, right? Yeah, yeah.
Around.
As I said, you can reply to everything, But then if you, on your way around the conference, later figure out, shit, I gave the wrong answer, you can go in and you can change it. Yes. It's not fine, even if you finish it, it's not final before, you can also amend it, whenever we close the link down, right? But yeah, so after the event, it's done. So while you are, so one of the things this makes sense not only to activate the delegates and to get their interest in sustainability while they are at the event, it also makes a lot of sense for us who's planning events to figure out if we are communicating sustainability in the way that the delegates actually understand. And I don't have the live results of what you've just did in this room, but just before I came on stage, we pulled the data, and so far 32 has done the rating of all the delegates. So but this is still early days. So now with all of you doing it as well and amending it whenever you walk around, we will have some more data. One of the things that we discussed in the last session in one of the groups, I had a workshop earlier today about how we communicate sustainability, was this question with the water efficient toilets, which is really interesting because they have automatic flush. And normally the only way to recognize if a toilet, at least for a consumer, is water efficient is if you press one of the two buttons, right? So we talked about that, and we talked about how to communicate, but actually I do think that they are water efficient, but I don't know. And this is just is an interesting example that if it actually is water efficient and you don't, as a consumer, have to do anything or can easily identify it, writing on the wall how much water you save, which René can maybe probably help you calculate at some point, on this, versus the average, is something that consumers think is really fun. They think it's engaging, they would like to know. So it was just one of the examples we had in the workshop earlier today. But also I can see in the answers that one of the things that a lot of people are unsure of is how is the diversity among speakers? We only took in gender diversity, but we could have taken in multiple levels of diversity, of course. But that's actually unclear to people. Has there been an effort in making the event speakers diverse? If so, what is it? What is the result of that work? Just two examples of things where, but the majority recognizes that it's 100% vegetarian and stuff like that. Yeah. How was it trying this?
That's a cool tool.
Thank you. Yeah. It's very easy, and I think it.
Kind of a gamification.
Yeah.
My reaction, I want to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Did I come right?
Yeah.
Also, you get so good feedback from the participants if it actually worked, what you really did.
That's exactly also the idea, yes. It's also sometimes to check if we communicate it, our actions. This is also super important.
You can do a lot of things and be super green and sustainable on the background, but when no one knows when it's like.
But I think also at the end of the day, we want to build more sustainable business. And when I say sustainable business, I also mean there's a revenue number attached in the end of that, right? We don't want to increase a consumption, but we would like to increase the sustainable consumption, right? So we really want to get people to understand all the efforts that we do in these events or in the hotels or in the restaurants so they can promote it. Because what we also know is that travelers trust travelers and delegates trust delegates. So if they have been at an event and they saw all these amazing sustainability initiatives taking place, they tell it to the next one. And the second trusted source for consumer choices is the people you already trust in your everyday life. Yeah. So let's make sure that these people actually knows what they're talking about when they say that something is sustainable. Yeah, cool. Well, thank you for testing it.
Hey, great. Thank you, Josephine. Well, we have a few more minutes till the end of the panel. So maybe if you guys have any questions or would like to discuss anything, we can wrap up in those 5 minutes, I guess. Yeah. Maybe it will be easier. Great.
Thanks.
There you go.
I'm wondering if any of you have started to work with legacy, how an event can. It's about how to say this in English. How an event can affect the community in the long run, because it's very up and coming back in Skåne, where I'm from now. Where are you from? Skåne. Yeah, it's a new thing now that we're working a lot with. Yeah.
I have a few words. So you're from Skåne, so you're very close to Copenhagen. The tool I showed you was with Visit Copenhagen. And so 4 of the themes you could choose was very related to transportation, food and beverage, but one of them was lasting impact, the legacy part. So we have included in the tool. I'm not an expert at all in that area, but I can see that it's really something that is growing among events and organizers, especially also seeing from the city, because a lot of citizens are not so happy about having more tourists coming to the cities. So how can we make positive impact after the event as well? I mean, if you go into my tool, you can see what the parameters Visit Copenhagen are working with. That's what I can say.
I think a big part of what we work with is actually educating the average person in understanding sustainability and the complexity of sustainability, and that has a lasting effect as well. It's not something that we're measuring at the moment because our data pool is still too slow, small. But we definitely want to have one of the KPIs that we're working on is how much we increase knowledge on sustainability and how we can make more sustainable actions. So that's how we embrace it.
Okay, great. Any more questions? No? That's all? Okay, great. Yeah. Thank you very much, everyone, for being here today with us. And I hope you enjoyed the rest of the conference tonight and tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you.